Hey there, welcome back to Love More to Live, where we talk about relationships and getting you healthy so that all your relationships can be healthy. Today we're looking at 12 things that can kill your communication dead. Have you ever come away from a conversation wondering, okay, what happened? What happened there? Or maybe, why can't we get this conflict resolved? What's wrong with them? Well, it may be that there's not something wrong with them. It's maybe that you did something that killed the communication before it even had a chance to get started. So let's take a look at the 12 things that can kill your communication. I've said before that communication is the lifeblood of relationship, but it's also a skill that needs to be learned if you want to have effective conflict resolution. So let's look at these things that may be killing your communication before you even start off. Number one is never taking the time to even get started. You just don't schedule a regular time to talk to your spouse, and so your relationship just drifts and it floats. And yes, sometimes you may have good communication and other times you will not, but that means then that it's because it's so erratic that when a stressful situation happens or something happens and then you need to communicate quickly, your communication isn't functioning like a well-oiled machine that's already running well, and that it can take the pressure of conflict and crisis. So you want to make sure that you're taking the time to communicate with your spouse. Richard and I established a regular talk time many years ago, and I do believe that it's the thing that kept our relationship alive and functioning well all through the years while he was building his career, farming full-time, while I was raising kids and homeschooling, and we were really, really busy. We took that time every day for half an hour just to talk and come apart so that we could communicate and connect as a couple. And I do believe that that is the thing that kept us going and kept our relationship vibrant and alive. Number two of communication killers is children. Oops, yes. Why? Not because children are bad, but because children demand so much of our time and attention, and they keep us so busy that you just don't get time to talk. So Richard and I taught our kids not to interrupt our chat time every day, and that was something that we had to train them into, and it's something that we tell other young parents to do. Make sure your children know that your time where you are communicating is sacred, so to speak, so that you can, and the reason I say that is because your marriage relationship is the primary relationship in the family. The relationship with your children is secondary. So your primary relationship is your marriage, and that needs to have focused attention and kept healthy and alive so that the rest of the family relationships can function well. So make sure you're putting that effort in to your marriage and putting aside time to talk and making sure that your children are not allowed to interrupt you. Look, there will be times when that does happen, and that's occasional and that's okay, but you don't want that to be the norm. Number three is long-term company. If you've ever had people living with you, or if you have an aged parent living with you, you'll know that that puts a strain on a marriage because there's just never time for you to be alone. There's never time for you to just spontaneously connect with each other, spontaneously have a conversation, spontaneously laugh and joke and share memories together, because there's always just someone else there. So that's something that you need to take into account. And again, setting aside that time where you go apart will really save your relationship. Number four is TV, cell phones, media. Do we need to say any more? I don't think so. We know how much time it consumes, and we know how much time we spend on our phones, even in bed at night before you go to sleep. We're scrolling. First thing in the morning, what's the first thing you do? Do you pick up your phone, or do you say good morning to your spouse? While your kids are talking to you, you're on your phone or on your computer. You know, we are guilty of these things, and we need to actually discipline ourselves to put those things aside and really listen to each other. Look your spouse in the eyes, look your children in the eye, and hear what they are saying. Connect with them, communicate with them, interact with them. Number 5 is being too busy with good things. Yeah, even good things can keep us so busy that we don't get time to communicate as a couple. And that can be church work, that can be helping other people, that can be any kind of good work that gets in the way of the primary relationship in the home and causes you to neglect your spouse. Don't let that creep in, even though those things are good. Number 6 is exaggerated responses. What do you mean by that? I never said that. Exaggerated responses can create defensiveness in the other person, and then it shuts them down and they're unable to communicate. It makes it really hard if you are responding in a way that is not calm and reasonable, especially for a person who's more timid. It's going to shut them down if they are not sensing openness and warmth from you when they are trying to share what's on their heart. Number 7 is body language. Negative body language can kill your communication before it even begins. Folded arms, staring off into the distance, tapping your foot or your fingers, like drumming your fingers on the table. Yeah, that gives a message of, could you just hurry up and get this over with because I've got other things to do. Shaking your head. Richard and I have been working with a couple and they've been having some serious conflict, and every time the wife speaks or says something and gives her viewpoint of the thing, the husband sits there and he shakes his head. Disagreeing, and immediately that's just putting her on the back foot. It's just making her angry. It's hurting because she's not feeling heard and understood at all. Number 8 is bad experiences from in the past can affect your communication. So if you've been verbally abused or mistreated by someone, it may block your ability to really feel free and safe to communicate well and to be authentic with what you're thinking and what you're feeling. So those are things that need to be dealt with. Those are things that need to be explored and healed so that your communication can function well. Number 9 is interruptions. Phone calls, text messages. How many of us are able to really ignore that phone when it buzzes, or even if it's on silent and it buzzes? It's hard for us to ignore those things, but make a point of not picking up your phone if you're in a conversation with your spouse and it buzzes. If your phone buzzes and you're in the middle of a conversation with your spouse, ignore it. Choose to ignore it. Don't allow your conversations and your communication to be interrupted. Learn to ignore those interruptions. Number 10 is dumping. What do I mean by that? Aren't we supposed to be able to share with each other exactly what we're thinking and feeling? No, I would say take your, Richard and I have often done this to each other, and we realize that it's not right, because it leaves the other person feeling down and heavy and like carrying this heavy load. Where you wake up in the morning, you're feeling yucky about things, you're feeling yucky about life, and you just start sprouting off all this negativity about how you're feeling, what's going wrong, why does this happen, why did that have to happen, why is this not working out? And before you've even actually gone to God with all of that load of stuff. Now, that doesn't mean you can't share what's on your heart with your spouse, but we've learned to take our truckload of stuff and take it to God before we start speaking to each other about what we're thinking and what we're feeling. And very often, it enables us to get rid of that heavy load of what we're carrying and the depression and the feeling down, and it helps us to express how we're feeling in a more positive way, in a less dumping way, where we're not using each other as a place to just offload rubbish and offload our garbage. Number 11 is nagging. Who likes a nagger? I don't think anyone likes a nagger. The Bible speaks about it in Proverbs, that it's better to live on the corner of a roof than with a wife who nags. So, if one of you is a nagger, the other one's probably going to tune you out and just like, so used to hearing all of this, and they're just going to ignore what you're saying, and that's not good for your communication. So learn to stop nagging and express yourself in a healthy way. And number 12 is simply not listening. just not listening. And who would listen? Who would continue talking to someone that's not listening? And if you're not truly listening to your spouse, they are probably going to find someone else to talk to who will listen to them, and that could be dangerous for your relationship. That is very often how affairs begin, because one of the parties has not taken the time to really listen to the other one. So, which one of these communication killers is your downfall? Let us know in the comments. We've done some of them. So now that you're aware of these communication killers, make a point of not doing them anymore, so that your communication can flow easily and freely, and so that your communication, the machine of your communication, can be well oiled and working well. And then you can find your conflicts will be resolved, you will have relational satisfaction, and your relationship will find new energy and strength because you're communicating. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and consider subscribing and clicking the bell to receive notifications of future videos. If you have a comment or a question, please don't hesitate to contact us. Our email address is in the description box below, and we'll see you in the next video.